Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope hope this weekend brings some refresh for you. I hope it is a productive weekend. I hope it's time to connect with loved ones, right? I know my weekends, sometime midday Sunday, my brain starts shifting towards like, what's coming this coming week? You know, I start cogitating around kind of the plans and all of that kind of stuff. And so I hope it's a really productive time between when we wrap up today and when we talk again on Monday. So we're into our principles, our 7 principles. God, at least I hope we are, because that's what I prepared. So there we go. While no single conversation is guaranteed to change the trajectory of a career, a company, a relationship, or a life, any single conversation can. And I want to throw it out here. Has anybody had some experience with that since we started this conversation 5 days ago? Has anybody experienced a conversation in the last few days that actually changed the trajectory?
I have.
Talk to me.
So after one of the days, I can't remember which one, I did my check-in call with one of our sellers, and we did a new video. We sent that out. We wanted to check in. They've since moved out of the house and down to their house in Tennessee. And I had your little voice ringing in the back of my mind about price reductions, but that wasn't the purpose of the call. The purpose was just to check in and tell them a little bit about the market. And he brought up the price reduction. And we got a $20,000 price reduction.
Great. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Give me another one.
Well, Brad, what I've been taking out of this, a lot of things out of this, but one of them is having a fierce conversation with myself, and interrogating reality. And so I decided that I was doing too much of the same old thing and expecting life to return to normal soon, and that was probably unrealistic, and that I really had to do something different if I expected different results. So as a result, I've got some plans with my team to do various biz dev things together. I won't elaborate, but different than when we have. They center around Zoom and leveraging everyone's center of influence together onto a Zoom call on certain topics.
Love it. Love it. Just so you know, David, how you say biz dev is the best version of lead generation I've ever heard from anybody. Business development, right? That's really what it is when we talk about lead generation. It's business development. And if you've been doing it like David, it's biz dev. I freaking love it. I love it. All right, one more. Real quick. Popcorn.
This is Charlotte. So,
hello.
Hi, Coach. So I talked to my seller, and I'm really just focusing on the why. I mean, they're being really upset. I mean, I had a tough conversation of the $400,000 price reduction, which we did. And then we got 2 offers, and we know the offers were far apart. And I just, I brought the seller as to why they want to sell right now, and how important is it, and what would that affect to the family. So we went down a number again. So he was willing to actually give a counter. So he went down 50,000. And then I talked to the buyer agent, and I say, I'm not your enemy, and we're all in this pandemic together. And, it's a very emotional transaction for the seller.
Right.
So does your buyer really wants to buy? Because this is really a great house. So the buyer agent said that, I understand, and, we can come up another 50,000. So now, instead of the 400,000 apart, we are actually continue negotiating. We are down to 250,000 apart.
Cut it in half, right? We're talking here, people, right? Remember, our business is brokerage, right? We're brokering, right? It's the back and forth, right? You know, our first job is get somebody to the table we can dance with. Great. Now let's start dancing. Let's start dancing. As we have these conversations, just a quick review. We're going to be speaking in our real voice. We're going to be speaking in our real voice. We're going to be speaking at the heart of the matter, right? We're going to deal with the fire, not the smoke. We're going to be really asking and really listening. Really asking and really listening. You are going to generate heat. This conversation will generate heat. You are enriching the relationship, right? And like what Charlotte just said, like, hey, the heat in that conversation can initially feel like, are we creating friction in this relationship? I promise you, if you are honest and direct with people over time, they value it over time. They may not value it in the moment, right? I mean, quick test. Think about the teachers you had in middle school or high school and the ones that you look back on with fondness. Weren't they the ones that pushed you? Weren't they the ones that said, hey, Ed Bemke, hey, Ed, you can do more than that. You can do better than that. I see more in you. I see better in you. And in the moment, a lot of us are like, man, screw that. But add 20, 30 years of perspective, we go, thank God she did that. Thank God he did that. I'm a better person for it. I've made better decisions in life because of it. Okay? You got to be willing to do that. You got to be willing to embrace that initial frustration and pain and all of that kind of stuff because you're committed to the long-term trajectory of growth. Okay? And remember, you are different when the conversation is over. So our second principle here, and then we're going to deal with 5 next week. So our second principle here is come out from behind yourself into the conversation and make it real. Come out from behind yourself into the conversation and make it real. Now, some of us struggle a little bit more with that than others. And I will tell you that it's a mature person. It's a mature person who can see that they wear a mask in areas of their life, right? That they put on a mask in certain areas of their life. And some of you might be doing that in your business. Some of you might be doing that in a marriage. Some of you might be doing that with your children or with your parents, right? Hopefully there is an area of your life where you do show up as the most kind of genuine, authentic version of you, and you can begin to build off of that area into other areas of your life, right? I hope that for you. I will tell you that I experienced that with time blocking, right? When I finally had an appointment in a calendar that I wasn't able to change, that became the cornerstone. And all other time blocking began to build off of that. Well, the thing I do right before that, I'm going to be similarly committed to. The thing I do right after that, I'm going to be similarly committed to until every part of my day became similarly committed. It takes time. So what's the area of your life where you're showing up authentic, where you can come out from behind yourself and really be in that conversation? Where can you do that now? And how do we begin to do that in other areas? How do we begin to have that migrate into other areas of our life? So let's go over some thoughts here with this. Again, come out from behind ourselves, into the conversation, and make it real. Authenticity is not something you have. It is something you choose. Authenticity is something we choose, right? Because by default, that means we can choose what? If we don't choose authenticity, what can we choose?
To be fake.
Say it again.
To be fake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or false
Not
facade.
authentic.
Yeah,
Say
some
it
people
again,
try
Charles.
to present themselves as in the best imaginable way,
Right.
not the way they are. And that is the big problem, because you get in the habit to imagine something instead of be something.
Right. You know, it reminds me of the original version there in bold, the be, do, have, right? The be isn't pretend to be, it's actually be, right? I'm a $2 million producer. I want to be a $10 million producer. Well, what do I have to do? I have to be, I have to act, right? I have to embody the habits, the mindset, all of that kind of stuff of a $10 million producer. It's not, I have to go out and buy a different shirt and then I can be a $10 million producer. The shirt ain't going to change it, right? So what's in here is actually going to change it. I need to be that thing that I want to become, right? And authenticity, you know, the authenticity piece doesn't mean it's static. It doesn't mean we aren't going to grow and develop over time, right? It just means I'm going to live my life, not the life you want me to live. Does that make sense? And I will say this, I will say this with passion. And I've got some of my, you know, people I coach with on this call too. That also means not the life that maybe a coach or a mentor wants you to have. A coach or a mentor should be helping you unpack what that is for you, not imposing what they think for you upon you, right? We want to unpack, we want to discover what it looks like for you, and then have a coach keep holding up the mirror going, all right, well, you said you wanted to be this. You said you wanted your business to look like this. You said you wanted your biz dev to look like this. Are you doing it? Is that how you're showing up right now? Right? It's a choice. We get to choose to be authentic. Are you making that choice? What's the area of your life right now where you have a hardest time taking the mask off? You know, you know, it's funny how life works, right? Last night, for whatever reason, sitting by the fire, and yeah, because it's still cold in Maine. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Sitting by the fire, and my oldest daughter always wants me to tell stories about stuff that happened before she was born. And she asked me, how did you and mom meet? And I've told her the story before, right? But apropos to this, one of the things that happened is when the day I met my wife, gentlemen, perhaps you relate to this, right? Especially as a 21-year-old man, it went through a filter, right? Do I have a chance to date this woman, right? First impression, do I have a chance to date her? My immediate answer was no freaking way. There's no way that's happening, right? Way outside my league. Okay, great. So then every conversation we had, I had nothing on it. I wasn't trying to pretend to be somebody different. I wasn't trying to like position myself to like, how does this turn into us going to a movie or something like that? It was just me showing up as me. Well, thank God, because what if I had pretended and we were married for 18 years? That'd be 18 years of pretending. I lucked out. I ended up being the authentic me, and thank God that there was a connection at the authentic, right? Jen, that's a beautiful, beautiful baby. Jealous. All right. It is better to fail at your own life than to succeed at someone else's. It's better to fail at your own life than to succeed at someone else's. Here's what I know statistically. Got 106 people on this. We'll have a bunch of other people watch this later. There's somebody who's hearing this right now who's succeeding at real estate, and it's not what they should be doing. It's actually not their passion. It's not what they want to be doing with their life. And for whatever reason, it's what their life has become. I'm giving you permission right now. Start building the plan to get to the life that you want. Here's what I know. Real estate will always be able to be a vehicle to get to that life, right? It will. You can quickly earn a lot of money in real estate and set up and fund that life you want. So it could be the bridge to get there, right? Thoughts? That's me, living in San Francisco. It's okay. I mean, I remember a great coaching conversation, very successful real estate agent. And the more the coach dug, the more they realized person doesn't want to be a real estate agent. They want to own a restaurant. That's what their passion was. They want to own a restaurant. And they were struggling at that time in their real estate business. What they really wanted to do was own a restaurant. And so the coach worked with them, said, great, how much money do you need to save to have a restaurant? To do it right, I got to have $1 million. Great. How much you got? 250. Great. So now let's use that as a plan for our real estate business to save $750,000 so you can open a restaurant. Right? Like, we could do that. That's okay. That's okay.
Not if you've been in the restaurant business for 30 years.
Hey, there we go.
Because I did that.
Right.
I owned a restaurant, and people used to say to me all the time, God, I would love to own a restaurant. I'm like, you spend 3 days with me, and we'll see, what you're thinking about doing then. And I've always had real estate in the back of my mind being, I'd love to be in real estate, but I just keep getting sucked into all these opportunities in the restaurant business. And finally, I just pulled the chute and did it. And I've never been happier. It's a complete life-changing, awesome. It really is. So,
right.
Anyone wants to get in the restaurant business, please call me.
I'll talk you out of it. Hey, I worked in the restaurant business for 6 weeks, and that was 5.5 weeks too long.
Yeah, exactly.
I left the restaurant business to go pound guardrail in on the side of the freeway because I liked that better.
Again, right? A step in the right direction.
Yeah. A lot of us in areas of our life, we're going to get tied to, right?
Well, I grew up in the restaurant business with my parents, so
Sure.
that's what I knew.
It's the default. So whose life am I leading? Am I leading my life, or am I leading my parents' vision for my life, right? Yeah. So, and it'll often show up like this, where I thought it was what I wanted to do, and now I'm here, and I have a mortgage, and I have kids, and I have commitments, and I have obligations, and now I just feel trapped. Okay. How do I unpack it? I'll tell you, the fastest way to unpack it, uncomfortable, almost to a level of embarrassment, unload the obligations. Gary Vee talks about this, right? Go from the house back to renting an apartment. You won't have to be there long to launch your dream. Some people have to do that to get into real estate because they're leaving the corporate job, 6 figures, and they know they're jumping into this life that's going to be, I don't know when I'm going to make money. Okay. Sell the 4-bedroom colonial, move into the 2-bedroom, the 2-bedroom apartment, and now get after it. You've given yourself runway to be successful at it. All right. If you want to talk about regrets, nothing bigger than people waking up at the end of the run going, I was living somebody else's life. I never took on the courage to live my own. How we spend our days is how we spend our life. How we spend our days is how we spend our life. And I think we've got such a magical opportunity right now. What are the things that being in our current situation have helped give you clarity that, man, I love having this in my life. I love having this in my life. My family playing games is something we are going to do a lot more of forever. Mainly because I usually win. But apart from that, it's going to be something we're going to do a lot more of. We are, because I see connections happening. I see grace in children who struggle to show grace with each other, right? There's so many things that come, so much fruit there, so much meat there. And what are the things that you're not able to do right now that you're yearning to do, that you really want to get back to doing? Well, those should be real indicators of the kinds of things you should include in your life. Don't let the busyness of the fact that we can get out of our house take away the fact that, hey, our kids playing dominoes is a really good use of time. And, don't let it act as a filter of, man, I can't wait till we can do this again. I can't wait till we can do this again. I'm not looking forward to getting back into a pattern of occasional takeout for the family, right? Like that's a thing that was happening at least once a week in the Knowles household. We're busy, we're tired, let's just get some takeout, right? The food's not as good a quality, it's not as good for us, and there's a lack of connection time because we're not making it together, right? So all of that is true. And at the same time, I do miss the occasional, the once a month, maybe twice a month, my wife and I being able to leave and just be able to spend some time together where neither of us are responsible for having to cook or clean or and really being able to connect. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that in a restaurant environment. But it's going to mean net, we're spending less at restaurants. It will mean that. Give me some examples of some of the things that being in this situation has helped you to realize the things that you're spending time on right now are things you want to keep spending time on.
I'll share because it will help me be accountable.
Love it.
So the reason I got my real estate license is because I'm going to open a coffee house. And that was 7 years ago, and I still don't have a coffee house. And so I started a virtual coffee house on Facebook, and we have like 600 people in the group now. And we spend so much of our day, not just myself, but other people in the group, we spend so much of our day in that group. And it has helped me to really remember why I got into real estate. And my kids, have been looking forward to having it. And now my daughter and I are making coffee on a Facebook Live in this group. And it just has really helped me to remember why I even started all of this in the first place. So.
We're done. We can hang up, Jen. We're good. What else? Give me one more on that line.
I'll go. So like you, Brad, we are doing family game nights, and my children are in their 20s. So they're beating us. They're beating the parents. But it's all good. We're supporting them in that, obviously. And then I also am spending more time walking my dog, going to get the mail, stopping by my mother's home, which is like 1/8 of a mile from me, which I was not very good at when I was, go. And so it's just really, even when I only spend 5 minutes, at her front door dropping off her mail, just the smile in her face, I mean, it's those kinds of connections are so meaningful, and they really don't take a lot of time.
Love it. Thanks so much for sharing, Patty. Give me a couple of examples now of, because you can't do it, you now know you won't be doing it? What has been cut out of your life that now that it's been cut out, you realize, oh, I'm going to stop doing that. Even when the option to do it is back again, I am going to stop doing that.
Definitely for me,
Mhm.
it's not going to frivolous trips to the grocery store or,
Right.
you know, those crazy little runs.
Right. Oh, I'll just pop out and grab, right?
Yep.
A little bit more
Total time
planning, a
waster.
little bit more purposeful.
Total time waster.
Yeah. It's 10 minutes to the grocery store for me. The fastest I can get through it is 5 minutes. So it's a 25-minute turnaround time to buy one item.
Mhm.
Or it's 45 minutes for me to do the grocery shopping for the week. Plan ahead, right? Love it.
Definitely
Give me
puts
another
things
one.
in perspective, especially with buyers. How many buyers are we not going to do that with anymore as well? Not only shopping, but buyers.
How many of us are going like, hey, I'm only going to show them 2 or 3, but you've had the wake up of, I should have only ever been showing them 2 or 3, right? I promise you, there aren't 20 houses for a buyer to go see. There aren't in any market ever. We haven't connected at a deep enough level with them to filter out the crap if we're going and seeing that many. That's us being lazy and going, hey, you know what? I'd rather be showing houses than freaking lead generating, right? I'd rather show another 5 houses, think I'm busy, as opposed to doing biz dev. You can see why I love that expression so much. Biz dev.
Yes, if we're being authentic, then we would only show them those couple of houses. It's when we start to adjust ourselves to say, okay, we'll go along with what you say. That's when you're not authentic.
Right. I'll let you drive the boat since you've never bought a house before, so you must know more than I do about real estate. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I think with our new way of doing business with a lot of video tours and 3D tours, we can save ourselves a bunch of time.
Yeah.
And just show them that first. If you don't like the 3D tour, we're not going to see it. And that will solve a lot.
And we're going to learn that too, right? Like if you don't like the 3D tour, it's not likely that you're suddenly going to love the home once you go in it, right? We're going to learn, if think about this. If the neighborhood and what they see on the outside doesn't get them excited, nothing on the inside is going to fix that. So they got to do the drive-by. They got to check out the neighborhood. They got it right before we go opening a door. Give me one more.
Brad.
Yes, Joan.
John Santos.
John.
This environment, I believe, has been a catalyst for all of us to, it's an awareness of how we need to really improve our technical skills and our profession. And this is really a wake-up call for us to really move forward and dig in and get these tools, these additional technical tools that's going to catapult our business forward and help us serve our clients better.
I love it. I love it. I think that's a great awareness. And I think there's a lot of us that have been able to hold back on that and not really jump in with both feet. Mm-hmm. And for some of us, this is the push we needed to go, I got to get good at that. I got to get good at that tool. What's this command thing? Let me dust off my keyboard and go check it out. Great.
Thank you.
Again, sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, again, I just believe that this is a situation that's really forcing us to grow and to learn more.
Yeah.
On the technical side, yes, indeed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worry. If there's a group that I worry about, it's the group that doesn't grow through what we're going through, right? If you're putting your head in the sand going, everything's going to be normal in 90 days, I'm good, la, 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 la. I'm really fearful for what you're going to wake up and see 90 days from now, right? Because if you engage in this, right, it's going to be these uncomfortable, smaller adjustments daily. If you don't do that and you suddenly go, hey, I went from not running to now I have to run a marathon, you're setting yourself up for failure. But if I go for a walk today and run a lap tomorrow, and you know what I mean, we can get there. We can get through that and we can adapt and adjust for it.
Well, this is pushing me through and I'm adapting to it. Thank you.
Love it, John. Jen, how do we do?
We did fabulous. I am looking for the New England Regional YouTube page to channel to post on here as somebody requested. So
Great.
if you want to finish it up while I find that, that would be great.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Next week, ooh, a teaser. A teaser. You like this?
Oops.
Brad's savvy marketing ability. Here we go. Teaser, right? Next week, here are the 5 topics we're going to go through. Be here, prepared to be nowhere else. Be here, prepared to be nowhere else. If you've been in one of my classes and you've listened to a tirade about these frickin' things, you know where that comes from. Be here, prepared to be nowhere else. Tackle the toughest challenges today. Tackle the toughest challenges today.
Awesome job. Oh, I'm sorry.
Obey your instincts, right? And there's going to be some asterisks with that because sometimes our instincts are trying to protect us from the hard work that will serve us well. So there's a little Brad Knowles finesse to that. Take responsibility for your emotional wake. If you call yourself a high D, I'm screaming at you. And lastly, on next Friday, let the silence do the heavy lifting.
Yes, man, that was amazing. I want to give you guys a little heads up. I have something really amazing to tell you guys. The 93 people that are still left on some exciting news. You guys are one of the first to hear. We have Mo Anderson coming to the region to jump on a Zoom call with us on, you ready for this? Yep. May 13th, the day before Red Day.
No.
So she's going to pour into us and really give us some energy and mindset and just positivity. So please put this. Time? Yes, I do. It's 10 to 11, 10 a.m. to 11. Keep an eye out for the Zoom link. We want to make sure we have as many people as we can listening to Mo to get us pumped up and energized. So really excited about that. May 13th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Get it in your calendars. Thank you, Brad, for a phenomenal week of Fierce Conversations. We have one more week left of this. I'm going to be sad when it goes away because it's really good. So thank you guys for participating.
Thank you all.
We appreciate the interaction and have a wonderful weekend, guys. Keep it going.
Stay safe.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.